And his big thing is a belief that you need to find the next mission.
Of course. Yeah, that's exactly right. You have to find something greater than yourself to serve. Yeah.
You have to be, and for some people, like, I don't even think that at first, like when people are at their lowest, it doesn't even have to be something that big, but it has to be a goal. It's got to be something. You seem to have transitioned very well.
Actually, I feel like, thank you. It was a fight for me, like I feel like everybody else. Like you get out, and there certainly is culture shock when you get out of the military. Yep. Civilians are just different. They don't, they don't move through life the same way that we do. I mean, I feel like I can look out this window right here and watch how people walk and pick out the veterans just by their gait. You even physically carry yourself in a different way. So I think, yes, you have to find something greater than yourself. You have to find the next mission. There's no question about that. But you also have to, in a certain way, leave. I mean, you're always going to be a warrior, but you have to you have to leave it behind in a certain way. Like, if you look back, like just existentially, like when you were a freshman in high school, were you different as a freshman than you were as a senior? Christ almighty, I look back at myself, when I was a senior in high school, or even a senior in college, freshman in college. I mean, look back at myself as a freshman, I'm like, Jesus, what the hell was I thinking? I was a totally different person. Experiences change us. Some of the experiences that we have in life are positive and some are negative. And we have to sort of take what we learn from the positive and keep those things with us and discard the negative. Learn from the negative, like let those experiences influence us, but you can't live your life based on that script. And I think a lot of the issue is that, of course, there's a cultural divide, which we spoke to. A lot of veterans don't feel like they have a mission that's greater than themselves to serve. But also, I think veterans have a really hard time with leaving that phase of their life in their rear view to a certain extent. And I'm not saying that, like, I am a warrior forever, right? That part, that will always be in my heart. But at some point you have to move on to the next operation, right? And so maybe that comes part and parcel with finding the next mission, but a lot of veterans can't leave the war behind, and I feel like you have to.
That's the thing that I've encountered a lot. And one of the, when I started Ranger Up, a big part of why I started it was I missed the community. I had guilt for getting out, and I wanted to do something cool. Like at the beginning, like, I wish I could tell you that I had some grand plan to like build this brand and have this thing, but I was working a big corporate gig after business school, and this was a hobby. This was something I needed to do because I felt so empty in my day job, even though it was a great company that treated me very well. And I didn't have your experiences. I didn't have that nightmare scenario. I don't have post-traumatic stress. I didn't go through, and I'm not saying you do, but transition was still awful. Like it was still hard. I left the military in the best imaginable circumstance. Like I went from the military, literally like still on terminal leave, to Duke University.
Jeez.
Like that should be easy. Like that should be
like from the outside looking in.
From the outside, like
with no experience in the military, people would be like, "Well, that's amazing."
What's your problem, man?
The problem is that you probably go there and you feel like Billy Madison in first grade. Like, I know. I got my master's degree when I got out, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
It was weird because this was the height of like everyone saying Iraq was like a bad situation. You're not supposed to have favorite soldiers, but one of my favorite soldiers was killed right as I got out. So like I already had this precarious situation where I was like, am I gonna be a lifer, or am I gonna move on? And
you all balance on that knife's edge at some point in your career as an officer, right?
So I left, and then Bill gets killed. And not only did he get killed, but one of my best friends in the world, Jared Crane, was now his PL. And, he took the shrapnel from that same incident to the face. So he was like, in the hospital, and it was like, and I'm sitting here, and I'm literally in this world with, 80% of the kids at Duke are like wealthy, and then 20% of the kids are people like us, nothing wrong with any of that.
Yeah,
but
I'm with you.
Their world is so different than our world. I was the first master's degree in my family on either side, like my dad was the first.
God, that's interesting. I never thought about that. That might be the same for me too.
Yeah.
I know, that's interesting.
And I had classmates that were like, oh, we're not wealthy, we're upper middle class, and literally like their dad owned a jet. Not a plane.
Yeah, he wasn't driving
like
flying some Cessna.
Yeah. And so,
sorry, I'm wrecking your whole studio.
He's knocking microphones.
I'm an infantry guy, man. I'm surprised that more things aren't broken and on fire.
So like, when I think about like my transition was hard. I drank too much. I made, kind of dumb decisions. And I didn't have like the situation, like, at least I was in a positive place, but so many guys, like they get out, you're right, they go back to their hometown and nothing's changed for anyone else. They're still living that same existence.
So I got back from Afghanistan, and like the first thing
let's pause right here.
Okay.
And pick it up so he can reset them all.
So I get back from Afghanistan, and you go on your month-long R&R. I've just been through 485 days of absolute hell. First thing I do is like, you get back, you call it, meet with your family, and it's awesome. You're at the welcome home ceremony, and what I do remember is that after meeting my family, it was just like, in an instant, I felt like there was like this barrier between my family, and I'm like, they don't really know me, but I just chalked it up to like, hey, you've been gone a while. Yeah, like just give it time and you'll sync back up. And so I go home to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm like, I'm gonna look at my buddies, like guys that I went to high school, elementary school, high school, college with, and I can like open up my little flip phone and I text them, and they text me their address, and they're living in the same exact place that they've been living in for 10 years or something. And I go home, I go down there, and I walk into the foyer, and they're all sitting in the same spots on the couch, like it's like an episode of Friends or something, talking about the same girl problems. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like nothing has changed here. Like these guys are all exactly the same, but like I'm a different person, And so, I get it, man. It's like you feel cut off from the people that you've grown up with and your family that you've been with your whole life. And what I find interesting about something that you said is about how, you got out, you felt guilt, you created Ranger Up because you missed that sense of community. Well, clearly, like millions of other veterans that have come back feel the same thing. I feel like, which is like a testament to Ranger Up's mission. I feel like, man, like people must sense and want that sense of community too, and they come to Ranger Up for it.